This is the Reef Beef podcast, and this is an informal discussion of all things in the reef keeping world. And as such, there are words that we are told people don't want to hear when they're listening to a podcast. Those are going to happen. So if that's you, find a new podcast or just get over it, because they're just words. And if you're listening to it at work and that's a problem, get a new job. And if you don't like your kids listening to these words, get new kids. This is Reef Beef. We love you. My name is Richard.
And my name is Benjamin.
And on this episode of the Reef Beef podcast, we are going to talk about what happened to Terence Fugazzi's aquarium. We got a quick visit from Sanjay. We're going to talk about why we're all so busy and why beefers are so awesome. And my MACNA talk. Those two last things are together. This is sponsored by saltwateraquarium.com, Champion Lighting, and powered by PolypLab. Welcome to Reef Beef. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing exhausted.
Oh, me too. So we're both fried. We recorded last week and we were going to try to record like 3 episodes this week, and we barely got together right now. So what's going on in your world?
I just had my work week was messed up because we had some crazy storm come through here early in the week. There was tornadoes. It didn't affect where I'm at or any of my clients, but on that day I had to stay all day at one client's. I wasn't about to go drive around. And so it sort of backed me up on a bunch of clients, and I had a super long day today.
Okay, so basically you hid like a big scared baby at a client's house while tornadoes were in Texas.
Now, it was jacked up, and normally I don't care too much for weather. I would go drive out, but there, Houston's well known for flooding, and it wasn't. Oh, that was the deal. I texted the next client who was in the path of some of the tornadoes, and I said, hey, I think I'm going to come by later in the week. And she said, that's good because we're in a shelter in place for tornadoes. And I was like, yeah,
I'm not coming to your house.
No.
Well, I thank you for doing that. I'm glad that you are not dead in a tornado or a flood. And I'm sad that you had a long week because you had lots of work.
I made a lot of money.
Yeah. We can't say any fun things to buy with all your money because Snowman cuts them out.
It's just bills.
Because it's just bills.
That's what happens when you procreate thrice. Hey, Rich, what's going on with you?
It's been a shit hell of a week. What's going on at the house is I decided that electrical needed to be changed. And we'll get a video when it's done, but remember the shelving next to the tank around kind of the corner? Basically, what we ended up doing today is putting that on wheels and a hinge, so that whole bookshelf opens like a door.
Sort of secret?
Totally secret. And all the electrical and control systems are behind that door. So I got to figure that out. I cleaned a shit ton of unused stuff out from underneath the house. Cool. In preparation for your coming. A bunch of stuff that was like not being used and cords that were dead. And, it's just, trying to get ahead of that.
Rats.
And then, more people died that I know, and friends of mine had people die and they needed my help, which is the right thing to do because that's how I'm trained by my wife. So that's a nice transition. And the electrical change has got something to do with it. We're talking about my electrical being old and it needs to change. And I showed that picture of that one outlet that I found, that plug that was burning up that I caught finally. And then Terence Fugazzi had a tank disaster. And I got a call like the day, like Christmas Day or the day after Christmas. I got a message from Terence that said, call me.
Wow.
That never happens, right? Terence never says, call me. There's always some banter and crap in text. And so I called him, and he was at his mother's funeral So that's how that story starts. And while he was at his funeral, we just did a live stream on it this week. So I had to drive down and do a live stream with Terence. It was my pleasure to do it. But so at his mom's funeral, or the day after, at the wake, he's looking at his tank and the temperature is 62 degrees. And he's like, that's weird. And then he looks some more and he sees a couple other things that seem weird. And he goes to look at the cameras on his tank and the cameras aren't working. And so his sump is like 80 feet away and 3 floors below his tank. So he looks at the sump camera and the sump's empty, got no water in it. So he's like, shit, bad things are happening. So he calls a couple people from work, Vincent and Paul. They get over to the house and he has had a tank fire underneath his tank. He's got it's like a 300-gallon tank. Really, really nice reef, right? And he reefs like us. So you set it up and leave it the hell alone most of the time, and the stuff just grows like mad. And he had a fire under the tank. We don't know what caused it yet, but it could be anything. And the tank burst out the back, and he had high pressure sprinklers which went on. So
he has high pressure sprinklers in his house?
Yeah, in his county they're required.
Wow.
So those were on for a while. So the tank's a total loss.
What's a while?
Hours.
Wow.
So the tank's a loss. Everything in the tank's a loss. And he can't, they've got to do water damage repair in the house. So he's out of the house for like 4 months. Right.
Wow.
So that all sucks. So I've been talking with him. His mom dies, his tank explodes. It's terrible. Then a couple weeks go by, I get another text from him that says, call me. And then Vincent Wong from Neptune Systems died suddenly. Very, very Jake-esque. He just died. He's too young for it to happen, and he died. So Terence had this horrible sandwich of terribleness. And then he's not telling anybody because, first of all, he doesn't want to talk about it. He's processing his mom. He knows he's got to get out in front of it and talk about what happened because he knows people are going to go, Apex burned your tank, which is stupid and not true. So he wants to control the story as much as he can. And then Vincent died. So he's bummed and upset again. So I was planning on going down to help him chop up a bunch of acros that have overgrown in his tank. And instead I go down there to do a podcast, live stream about all of this horror.
At the house?
At his house. Yeah. So we were in the garage. He's got a house that they rented nearby, and he's also got a big RV so they can kind of be in the RV. And so I went down, because he's my pal and he's hurting and he needed my help on the live stream because he didn't think he would be able to pull it out without, being very upset at various levels. So it was my honor to go down and help somebody in pain out. And what a disaster for his tank. We still don't know what happened. I guess they took a bunch of it away, the insurance people, to see if they could figure it out. But it could have been anything. There was no water really under the tank. The sump was far away, but there could have been, salt creep from aerosol. There could have been a spill. There could have been anything. There could have been something that went goofy. As we're, where you have connections, they exercise over time, and anything could have happened. Apparently the insurance inspector was impressed that the EB832 didn't burn. It held up against the heat where many other things didn't. Soot's everywhere in his house. So that needs to be taken care of. It's not just the water. It's just awful.
The thing that I think is well, the scary thing would be insurance companies like looking at something like an aquarium and denying a claim, because it's like, I don't know how they'd operate on that, because they're like, dude, you have electricity by saltwater, he's
got good insurance. and they're taking care of everything. They're like,
Okay.
okay. How much is it going to cost to replace this tank? Apparently the adjuster went, what?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, just the tank alone is like 20 grand, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like that's not a problem, but it brings up all of the ideas about safety in your tank, right? So I want to hear what you do to make tanks safe, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I do, because I was already in the mode of let's make all this safe. I put the battery backup in, which when I clean it all up, we'll get a video of, and I'll show you what it is. And I still got to work on the Acropora spawning video. There's so much backlog, but it's been like stuff needs to get done around the house.
Man,
so, go ahead.
I come across this so much, and I'm interested if anyone is going to know what I'm going to say about outlets. You have a chance right now to think about what you think I'm going to say. But when in my work, when I come to an aquarium, like an already existing aquarium, someone wants me to, clean it up, become a customer and all that. Ground fault circuit interrupters. Almost no one, people just get an aquarium, put it against a wall and plug stuff in. But because by code, in your bathroom, in your kitchen, and any outlet near a sink or a tub or a shower has to have a ground fault circuit interrupter on it. It's that old thing where you can't take a toaster and throw it in the bathtub. It'll just pop the circuit. The GFCI will do that. But I'm telling you, man, I would promise you a majority of the tanks out there are sitting in a wall, just a regular outlet, not protected.
Yeah, it's really tough. And in fact, I was putting up new lights under the house, and one of them, they've got plugs on both sides. One of them went into my sump and popped the GFI like that.
Wow.
So that's good. So GFIs work. Some people say don't put them on life support because sometimes they trigger.
Better than a house fire or a death.
By accident. I agree. And I think they're better now too, but.
Oh, I'm sorry. But let me real quick. If a GFCI pops frequently, sometimes that means the fuse is going out. You can put a new fuse in there.
Yeah, you just put a new one in. I think the worry about GFI is old, is 20 years old. Don't get shitty ones and replace them every 5 or 10 years because they're $20 each, right? I think for most reefers, again, so we get into this weird thing. Us and most of the people who are listening to this podcast are not first-time reefers. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I actually don't know. We've never done a survey, but it feels like people who are drawn to this already have some experience under their belts for reef keeping. But if you just go to the store, if you just get your first reef tank, why would you know, to put a GFI in? Why would you know to not put your electrical under the tank? It makes so much sense to put it under the tank. And so it's tough. If you're serious about it, you'll get your tank set up and you'll go, oh, this is a fucking rat's nest. And it's not just a rat's nest. It's also dangerous because when you pull on something to get it at the rat's nest, the power plug that goes into your power brick, you can get that loose just because you've yanked at it and don't know it. And then that could start arcing and causing a fire. And
drip loop.
Drip loop. If you're going to have stuff low, definitely want to have a drift loop.
But let's say what a drip loop is.
A drip, go ahead.
Okay. So if you are plugging something into the wall, don't have the cord come, like here's the outlet, the cord come and go right there. You got to have enough slack to come down and come up to the outlet. Because if water dribbles and travels down that cord, and obviously you did like that, it'll just drip off the bottom of the cord. If you just went like that, it's going to drip right into the outlet.
Yeah.
Oof.
So that's even like if your tank is overflowing, water could go down the cords. So yeah, drip loop is good. There's a lot of basic safety stuff that take into account.
Why is my back all wet?
Ben,
Richard.
Have you heard of this website called saltwateraquarium.com?
Oh man, it's a doozy.
Is it a doozy? What did it doozy you with?
It's got so much information on there, and they give you discounts when you order things. They give you discounts when you look at it and order from it. And if you're in a job where you fight people and also a job where you save people's lives, they give you discounts.
Okay, that's all factual, very strangely phrased, but factual. They've got 3 different shipping distribution centers. So whenever I order, all I order is Aphantasia, just like every day. And they usually ship out the same day. So that's pretty great. They've got, I was just reading somebody's review of getting a cleanup crew order from them, and they were very pleased with it. They've got an app where you can use your thumbs to order things from your bedroom at night. And they're good. They support us, which is really nice. And they let us do ads like this, which are kind of crazy. But we like that because we're fun idiots. And you know, we used saltwateraquarium.com before we had the show, and we use it now, and they help make the show possible. So thanks to them. Go check them out. Use the link down below, saltwateraquarium.com.
Why is my back all wet?
I was always worried about electricity, so I've always put my electrical up and away from the tank, right? And now I'm making a whole room. I might actually have to put another wall in case, so it can stop water from getting over there, but we'll see. But you know, most people, why would you do that? You know, oh, look, there's all this room underneath the tank. I'm going to put it here. That does have the added benefit. If you get a fire down there and it burns up and it blasts out the bottom of your tank, that's going to go down and put out the fire. So that's good.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. So versus, you know, if I'm called into a situation, there's already an aquarium there, you know, 9 times out of 10, they just situated it near a plug. Okay. Then if it's not GFCI, I will tell the person immediately, first things first, get an electrician in here, put a GFCI right there. Cause I will not touch your tank until you've done that. So I always get people to do that. But my favorite one is when I'm doing a custom tank, because when I do that, and sometimes if the house is being built new or something like that, I always get the electrical up in the top left or top right of, you know, and I get stands built taller than most people do. I get that electrical way up there. It's not down in the wall where a normal socket would be. I always get the home builders or whatever handy person or whatever's going on. Like, I want those outlets as far in that cabinetry as possible. One other thing, I have a pet peeve with shitty power strips, like shitty Office Depot power strips. First of all, please don't use those on aquariums. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever big box hardware store and get like a, you know, like a protected, grounded, you know. The ones I like have sort of like dog ears on the side, because I hate the type of power strip where you have to sort of put those screws and get it to mount in those keyholes. That drives me nuts. I like the ones that have the dog ears and you can drive a screw. So that's a big deal, is I get power strips. If I'm not using an Apex, I get power strips and you mount them up. Don't plug it into a wall and let it sit on the bottom of the stand. Mount it up, upwards into the cabinetry, up and out of the way.
Yeah. If you've got, here's some of the power strips I've gotten. And get one that's a surge protector too. That's just stupid not to. I found these are switched, which I'm excited about, so I can get rid of the DJ power panel and use this instead. And the secret with these kind of keyholes is you put blue tape on it.
Yeah.
Make the spot with a marker, peel the blue tape off, put it where you want, and put the screws right on the holes. I also got, this is a big power brick. This is a surge, it's a surge protector as well. So, and
I've never seen one of those.
They've all got, you know, USB on them now too.
That is a massive outlet.
Well, I was thinking about I wanted to test this instead of getting one of those long things with a bunch of outlets on it.
Yeah.
You know, I saw this and I went,
Where'd you see that at? Where'd you find that?
I got it on Amazon.
That is crazy.
We'll put the link on. And it's got the dog ears and the keyhole flanges.
Wow.
And
The only thing that scares me about that, as long as it's got the ability and the wire gauge, because that is a lot of plugins.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't most of the stuff that's going in this is not pulling a lot.
Yeah.
Right. It's a surge protector as well. This is actually a better rated surge protector than this.
Huh.
So you got to look at that kind of stuff. So I'm shitty strip plugs that aren't even surge protectors are bad. And it's also the #1 cause of fire, but that's because people put strip plug into strip plug and then load it up. I know that these are going, well, I thought I knew. That's another, well, maybe I'll say, no, I'll tell you right now. We went to test, we were going to move some electrical today, and we flipped the circuit breakers that are supposed to be running my tanks, and nothing turned off. So something goofy is going on.
Oh no.
But that's fine. We'll run the circuits. We'll fix it. It's been working for 20 years, but we'll fix it. So
I
check all that stuff. So
never plug a power strip into a power strip.
It depends what you're putting through it. If you're putting it because you need one more plug over here, okay, but you're not actually just getting more power. You're just getting more outlets. So you have to be smart about how you spread that. And also you want a good power strip, a good surge protector, so that plug locks into place and doesn't move. You want it in there tight. So we could talk about okay. So the basic idea of fires is they can always happen. They're not necessarily, or very often, they're not caused by equipment at all. They're caused by user error, letting them sit too long, letting them get salt creep on them, letting them get aerosol on them, and they start to arc, and then they smell, and hopefully you catch it before. But it's all risk reward. You have to know off the bat that you're putting a bunch of electrical crap in salt water. You're taking a risk. And as you get into it, you understand what that risk is. We don't hear about a lot of tanks burning down. So that's good. So it doesn't happen all the time, but that doesn't mean it's something that you shouldn't be paying attention to and doing at least the minimum about. So, you want the plug to be outside of the stand. You want, you don't want this plug just right behind the stand. And I'm sorry, I keep thinking about this, so I'll talk about it. There was somebody on the live stream. So we've already said that Terence's mom died. We've already said that his tank exploded, and we've already said that Vincent died, right? And somebody got on and said, oh, it's a crappy power supply in the Apex, right? And Terence was like, shut up. And I want to hammer that home. If somebody's tank has exploded and their mom has died and their friend has died, you got no business giving them grief about anything, especially bullshit that you're wrong about or don't know about, So just be kind to people, man, when they're going through hard. If anybody has a tank crash, you got to be kind to them. They're suffering. It's
just someone trying to just stick it to them when they see an opportunity.
Yeah, it's just some weird ass, cheap ass score points thing. Stop it. I ended the live stream by saying, hug the people you love and be kind to your enemies. Because why not? Especially if something bad has happened. So don't be a jackass. I'm sorry. I just had to get that out. I feel like there's like a million things we could say about energy and electrical planning, but they're all going to be different for each system. So go over just the basics. Just one more time.
We are living in a different era because I don't know what 10, 15, maybe 15 years ago, with like mag drive pumps and halides, and like our aquariums used to be, I haven't quantified it, but I think our aquariums used to be more electricity heavy than they are now.
Right. When I was running my Amp Master 3000, that was 3,000 watts. No, it wasn't, but it was like 800 watts or something like that. And the amps to get it to spin up were crazy. That's why the Amp Master was so great, because it had lower amps. But one of the pumps that I was looking at to start my system pulled 11 amps.
Wow.
And now it's DC.
Yeah.
That can still cause fires.
Yeah.
But you're not sucking the juice down as much as we used to.
Spinning the old meter.
Whee! Spinning the old meter.
And halides and just everything that we had. Chillers. I mean, maybe not where you live, but living in Texas, like pretty much, believe it or not, chillers I still have, some systems here and there that still have to have chillers on them.
Yeah. And they're more efficient now than they used to be. Just everything's better and easier. So listen, if you're watching this and you want to sleep well at night, and we'll put a picture up somewhere of Terence's tank. It's terrible. And we'll put a link up to the live stream. If you want to sleep better, make your electrical better. Organize it a little bit. Get it away from the water if you can. Put it outside your stand. Put it up above on a shelf.
Bare minimum's GFCI.
GFCI. If you don't have that, do it. Your life and your house is not worth the tank. So please just do something. For a long time, I was braggadocio about how messy everything was. And I'm still okay with that. And it wasn't until recently that I figured out that a complete wholesale look of the entire electrical system was in order. And if that's happening, I might as well make it gorgeous, or at least better, right?
Well, and the sort of scary thing is the case in point with what happened to Terence, like, to go through and mitigate your own risks.
Yeah. And Terence is not an idiot. Terence has got means, and he's wicked smart, and he knows about this shit. So I'd be really surprised if he did something stupid under the tank. I'd be really shocked at that. So it's just, shit can happen. And so minimize the amount of shit can happen. Now you can go crazy the other way and do, 20 million things, and then you're spending $1 billion to, fireproof it, but at least do the minimum and go through it. I get, trust me, I get it. While you're building your system, you plug stuff in and you just leave it where it is, but go back over it in a few months once it's stable. I'm thinking with these things, once I'm actually sure of where everything's going to go on the wall, and I figure I'm going to move stuff around several times, but with these power strips, with these cords, I'm going to open them up and make the cords as long as they need to be, instead of having this, this whole rat's nest of wrapped up cord. You can open it up, pull it through, and then have just 2 feet of cord and be done. So that.
Oh, I never thought about going that way, because I
do it the other way.
Yeah, I always go to Home Depot and you get the other one where you snip it, get the cords out. That makes sense.
Then you put a new plug in there. Yeah, you take the back off. It's wired onto the board, so it should be easy. But either way, I don't care. Either way, because man, a tank fire is just a bad thing. It's just, all of this is going to get redone. It's all going to get done. And right behind me, all the electrical, all of it, except for some extension cords I have to run from the top down because heater plugs aren't long enough. Everything electrical is up above the tank.
Yeah.
All of it. It's just, it can't get soaked. And that was part of the design.
Why is my back all wet?
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Richard.
We're powered by PolypLab,
I can feel it.
You can feel the power coming through the soles of your feet and
It's
into
raw.
your GFI. Click.
Yeah.
You're off.
I think it's probably Reef that I feel.
You probably do feel those refroids. The product we're talking about this time is this premium super glue. They make this in what they call a grenade, which has got a ton of them, or you can get them here in a box. And I've been using this box of them, and they're what Ben calls gluelets. They're small glues, and this is really great. If you've got a few frags to do or a little bit of rock work to put in place, you can use this, and then you won't have a big tube that then you have to deal with trying to get the cap back on or off, or cutting the end. You've done that, right?
Yep.
You cut the end and then it all squirts out and it's terrible. Not so with the gluelet. So they've got a bunch of other products as well, PolypLab, but check them out wherever good products are sold to be powered by PolypLab.
Why is my back all wet?
I was trying to think of useful stuff to say, but it's so specific to your setup.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
just take after you're watching the show, just take a what do you say? Like, not an inventory, but just look at your system down below. Feel the plugs where they're plugging in. Like, do you have the skimmer like popping and sending crap anywhere near an outlet? That's not cool. Figure that out.
Are the cords warm? If your
Yeah.
electrical cords is warm, you probably don't have the right gauge.
Yeah. A
Jiggle
lot
your-
of people probably have Neptune, so I don't know about this, but like if you don't have an Apex, like, maybe take inventory of what is plugged into that and make sure like you don't just have too much voltage going through a piece of shit Office Depot, power strip.
Yeah.
Get rid of the Office Depot power strip. Get something a little more industrial.
Mount that shit on the wall.
Well,
Right? Organize the cords. The other thing about organizing cords is when you have an emergency, if you're digging through cords, you're in trouble, right? You've
Yeah.
lost time already, right? So label everything, and I get it. Well, you're building the system. I mean, for 20 years, I haven't done it. Or
Yeah.
I've done versions of it that were good enough. But yeah, it'll take you less than a day. Just do it. Label everything, make it pretty, make it safe as you can make it, so you can just go to sleep better.
You have a cool thing sometimes as far as that's organization, but sometimes I'll get white electrical tape and I'll, like, where something plugs in, and I'll cut the tape and sort of have like a dog ear, and I might write like pump or something. You had a cool thing where you use those sort of old-timey price things with the little metal ring with the light cardboard inside of it and the string, and you can
So
write
it's just like a tag. So it's a
Tag.
big tag. Yeah, I got somebody garbled on the Discord recommended these zip tie ones. They're kind of neat, but they're really small. They're like an inch by half an inch, so you have to write really small. So I might go back to the tags, or a piece of blue tape folded over, written on. That's just fine.
Yeah.
Write legibly, make it beautiful. Print it. Wandell turned me onto this at the academy. He used to print whatever was going on the cord.
Oh,
And then
like
we
a Brother P touch.
Yeah. And then, or no, just print it on a printer.
Okay.
So it's on both sides, and then laminate it.
Oh, I see.
And then it's just this wonderful tag that's there forever, and it's completely readable. You know what? I'm probably going to end up doing that, because that's a great way to do it. It's big. You can see it. Make it whatever size you want.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Make sure your power bricks, everything that where the power comes into your brick, that's in tight and is secure and is not going to pull. All the little DC barrel connectors, make sure they're in correctly and don't have shit pulling on them. Don't hang your controllers by the power cord, because that could pull out. All that kind of stuff. Just make it better. I mean, getting that call from Terence, the tank is gone. It's just awful. And he's lucky. No one was there. No one got hurt. No one died. The house didn't burn down. And he's still out of his house for 4 months. Great. What's the worst disaster you've ever experienced yourself?
I wasn't there, but we covered it in one of our episodes where so I'm originally from the Dallas area, and I worked at a place there, and we got back from a long day and to the office, and our boss says, everyone get in the truck. And we went to Emmett Smith's house. He's still the number one like running back. And we're like, whoa, because he was a Dallas Cowboy football player. So we all go to Emmett Smith's house, and half of his house was like, like framing like 2x4s. And we're like, what the crap? And so the company before us had there was that tank where they had no protection in the drain, and an eel went down their head first, and salt water welled up in the wall, and it caught it was called a wall fire. His house was on fire, but you couldn't tell anything was going on until too late. And so his house had been gutted, and we came in to cut stuff off, and he was talking to our boss, and I ended up cleaning the tanks for 2 years until I moved to Houston. But yeah, burning down half of Emmett Smith's house wasn't cool.
I'm trying to think what the worst disaster I've had. I'm knocking on all the wood, and I'm not superstitious.
I used to work in a store in Bedford, Texas called Planet Pet, and I was the manager of the aquatics department. There was a lady who worked for me who I guess I shouldn't say the name, but these old like fish shop system units where the lights would fall in sometimes, and it shocked her. It was so weird. I still to this day have never seen anything like this. It shocked her so bad that she had blood coming out her ears. And so they had like the EMT or whatever come in, and they ran her to the hospital because I didn't know this either. You can receive a shock so big that something like the electricity in some way stays in you. It can mess with your heart. So they had to take her to the hospital and do whatever. But yeah, that was bad.
That's bad. Yeah. Make sure your lights are secure. You don't need that falling in. And make sure that's on a GFI. Okay, I can't think of any real disasters except for floods. I remember once when I was a kid, something flooded. A pump came undone because I didn't use clamps or something, and it pumped all the water out, and it was raining downstairs in our house. I mean, literally just water is pouring through. Yeah, my parents didn't like lose their shit either.
There was one where I had a customer's tank was like overflowing in front of me, and that was scary. It was overflowing in front of me, and I'm looking in the stand, and water is like raining down on top of power strips and all this, and I'm like, I don't know what was going through my head, but I was like, I have to turn that off. And while I'm down there and I'm trying to punch it and hit it, but the thought was running through my head like I'm gonna get electrocuted. I did get it off before that happened, but it was, I mean, there's literally salt water raining down a power strip, and I'm trying to punch at it.
Oh God.
That was scary.
Yeah. And I'm going to look into a CO2 fire extinguisher.
Why CO2?
Because I could spray it up my aquarium.
What's the other one? It's like talcum powder or something?
Some dry chemicals.
And it's just that would just straight fuck it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I assume. Somebody mentioned that on the Discord, so we'll have to ask. All right. So anyway, be kind to Terence. Be kind to anybody who's having problems. Be kind to everyone at Neptune. They just lost somebody. And our world is too small. We already lost Jake, and it's just now's not the time to be jackasses. Be kind, be friendly, help each other, and let's get off this depressing crap.
Why is my back all wet?
Hey, Richard, there is a place in France. No, there is a place called Champion Lighting, and I dig them. They are a sponsor.
I dig them too.
They've
got all kinds of stuff that some of the other vendors don't have. So they fill this wonderful niche of harder to get stuff, or stuff that's not as commonly stocked anymore. But they also carry a lot of stuff that you do want. So pretty great. And they're the only place online you can get the Captivate products.
Do you know I looked on there last night and they still have power compact bulbs?
Yeah. They got everything. It's
That's
called the
insane.
Champion Lighting. They're
I mean,
great.
the champions.
Great. And the CTAC, the adhesive is coming. It should be released very soon. So we're excited to see how that goes. And Todd's pretty great. So check him out. Use the link down below, championlighting.com.
Why is my back all wet?
I asked Sanjay to be on the show as a guest, and on his Facebook, he put up this and said, here's the future Reef Beef.
Brought to you by Photon Man. LED lighting is a popular choice for reef aquariums because it is energy efficient and can provide the specific wavelengths of light that coral and other marine organisms need to thrive. LED lights can also be customized to simulate natural daylight cycles, which can help promote healthy coral growth and coloration. Additionally, LED lights tend to produce less heat than other types of lighting, which can help prevent temperature fluctuations in the aquarium.
Chat GPT Joshi.
Yeah, right. So I think we're going to need to do one to send back at him.
Yeah,
So just
a
think about
reef beef chat GPT.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. Or somebody will do it for us, which would be
Maybe
funnier
we
than
can
hell.
get one of our Discordians.
One of our Discordians, our fabulous Discordians. They are so great, man. My MACNA talk was finally released, and I'm pretty happy about that. I think it was the second to last one. I'm really happy with the talk. I actually watched some of it, and I usually don't. And I think I still make a good argument. It's about managing algae. Nothing new is going to be to any beefers here. It's, we've talked about it a lot as I was getting the talk together. And I'll say this, the beefers are awesome. Okay, so, and here's why. I get a note from a beefer on a forum. I think they got in touch with me and said, hey, I shared your MACNA talk with my local group, and they got all bent out of shape. And I thought you'd get a kick out of that. And I was like, yeah, but can you send me the link? Because I'm interested. And and they were like, sure. And they sent it to me. And one of the people was all bent out of shape because I said something about, and then your cat will starve, but who cares about cats?
Yeah, I read it. It was pretty brutal. And
but I mean,
both you and I have thick skin. Like, it's depending what mood you're in. So sometimes you're not.
Oh, I have a giant fragile ego, my friend. But this one was fine. But I thought it was like, it's so clear. Some people have gotten so bad at not knowing when someone's yanking their chain or not serious. It's so clear in the talk that I'm not saying, yeah, fuck all cats, they should all die.
Yeah, but dude, come on. If you live on this planet, there's all sorts of people, and they're out there is what I'm saying. You put yourself out there on any given day, and you're going to get someone that's so mad at you for a thing where you're just at a loss for words, and you're like, really, that's what you stuck on. Yeah.
Right. Nothing about the content. I think this person was also like, well, this guy clearly needs to have his talk on note cards.
Yeah, he was mad. I mean, you have a certain style. Everyone's got a certain style when they speak publicly. I think it's important to interject, careful amounts of humor here and there to, so you're not like, and then I went to blah, blah, blah,
But
you do a great job of that. And he was like, he got mad because your style of talking.
Right. So didn't get any of the information. And somebody else was also upset about my style of talking. And then the person who got a hold of me posted and said, hey, look, basically said really nice things, but also said, look, if Rich and I talk about anything but reefing, we're probably going to hate each other. But we have reefing in common. He makes sense. So I listen to the show all the time. And I thought that's everything, right? That's the biggest compliment in the world. Well, I think everything about your life disgusts me and I hate you. Hey, let's talk about this stuff and have a nice time. That's the world I want to live in.
I saw the state that this came out of, and that's all I needed to know.
It's, you know, but I'm trying to thicken my skin more. You're a good influence on me with that. You know, because I didn't at all I was like, oh, I got to see what they're saying. I was a little bummed because I was like, I want to see what they think of the talk.
Well, yeah, one guy was like, I don't like this guy. I never did. And it was like, dude, can you just talk about the subject matter? I mean, I don't know.
It's so funny to me. But I love, and I'm not going to say who this person is. I'm being cagey on purpose. I don't know what their deal is about being called out, but they'll know who's listening. I hope, please write to me when you hear this, because I was so happy with that you reached out to me at all. And I'm even more happy knowing that, you know, socially and political, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum, but you still listen to the show. And if we talk about stuff that you don't like socially, you just go, yeah, okay, that's part of reef keeping. So, and he threw me some great compliments about my skills, which is always nice to get.
I mean, that's all we ever ask of anyone, right? As long as you're not doing something illegal. If I'm doing something you don't like, you don't have to stop and Karen me.
Right.
Just move on.
For a long time, and even now, I usually on forums, I don't look at who posted. I don't like go who. I read what they said. And it's like, because I care about the information. I don't care about the person. And then I'll go back and I'll go, who is this? Why should I believe them? I'll do all that stuff. But does this seem like something I care about is the most important thing to me?
I mean, isn't there one of those fallacies that's, you know, about that? Like, oh, that guy's a jerk. I don't listen to him. But
it's ad hominem.
Yeah, okay.
It's about the person rather than about the content.
Like, okay, let's take like political, like, and I'm not on the far left, but I'm just saying, like, Sean Hannity.
Okay, what about him?
Like, he could say something that could be true.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, anybody I disagree with, I am more interested in the information. If we're going to be friends, we can be friends too, you know, and we can talk about hard things. We just have to be careful
and not get butt hurt.
Know when to get out of the, you know, know when to go, you know what? This is not why we're friends. Why are we talking about this? Let's talk about, you know, book time. It's book time. Ben Johnson wanted to talk about books, and tonight he's not going to talk about a book, but it's kind of related.
So it's funny in our, you know, we had that episode with Jason Langer where, you know, his whole beef was like, people don't read books anymore and books are better than forums. Okay. So we gave him his own little section. It's like reading with Jason Langer, but
butterfly in the tank.
Yeah.
When you die, you will stank.
But anyways, this is so weird how this happened. It really was creepy because I meant to grab a FAMA, Freshwater and Marine Aquarium magazine, and I grabbed this instead of TFH. I just randomly grabbed this magazine. And what I wanted to do on that channel, I grabbed my phone and I was sort of bored. So I started taking a picture of every page. Oh, you know, look at this thing. Do y'all remember this piece of equipment? Oh, and here's an article on this. Flipping. What did I come across? I wrote an article in this magazine in 2003 and completely fucking forgot about it. However, this is embarrassing and humiliating because this was a paid article for Eco Aqualizer.
Excuse me. Wait, my pants are wet. This is the best thing I've ever heard of. Who paid you?
See, by Ben Johnson.
I see it. It says that by who paid you? Did Eco Aqualizer or did TFH pay you?
Eco Aqualizer.
Okay, so you're the full-on shill. Okay, let's have read some of it. Let's have a reaction video.
Can I read it quickly and then you stop me? It's just this one page right here.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to get through the whole page, but maybe we will.
There's so much crap in here, and when I read it, I was like, "What the fuck?" Because I wrote this. Okay, ready?
I am in fucking heaven right now.
Eco Aqualizer, fact or fiction? Every once in a while, a new product or idea is utilized in the health maintenance of aquariums that transforms and evolves the science of fish keeping. The pioneers of these concepts are met with great speculation as to the usefulness towards aquarium husbandry. Another such product is waiting its turn to be poked and prodded. It is called Eco Aqualizer. If it turns out to work as claimed, it will most certainly become a necessary component of any healthy captive aquatic ecosystem, which is creepy because I put the name of my company right there.
Did you know that at the time? You did.
I think I was doing like a play in my head that no one else would get but me.
Wow.
Any healthy captive aquatic ecosystem. That's the name of my company.
So if it pans out, this is going to be great.
Eco Aqualizer utilizes small but powerful magnets and a far infrared radiating material to improve water quality and help fish maintain a strong immune system, among other benefits.
Oh my God! I can't. We can't do this. We can't.
You don't think so?
No, I think we put it up in the Discord and let people take a look at it, though.
Okay.
I mean, is there some choice parts?
It's just such garbage. Like when I read over some stuff that I wrote, it's like painful.
Well, it sounds like you were just mostly copying the white paper.
Yeah, I was just having some fun.
How does it end? Read the last paragraph.
In closing, while testing is still being done, please be on the lookout for more information about this new and promising development. The price of this product compared to nearly every other piece of equipment is a bargain. As people share their experiences with the Eco Aqualizer, relevance of this product will be revealed.
Oh my God.
For me and many others, Eco Aqualizer has saved many of fish's lives and a reduction of maintenance.
No, it hasn't. Oh my God. That is so, I'm torn between kissing you and telling you to kill yourself.
Can you believe, exactly. Can you believe Mother of God?
Wow. Oh my God.
2003 issue with July 2003 TFH magazine.
We could kind of go through it and do, the baloney detection kit on it.
God, look at the bullet points. That these are where all the things. Improve skimming by 30%. How the fuck do you quantify that?
Wow.
Promotes beneficial bacteria growth in coralline algae. We never tested that. It was not, this was not my company. I worked for this guy.
Yeah.
For 6 months to a year.
You were the guy in his underwear who
would
would sit in the garage and tape up magnets.
Fights pathogens and parasites.
Come here, you. We're gonna fight. You see? You dirty pathogen.
You
dirty parasite.
So hey, that's a good reason to join our Discord, because I'll post that up there. If you watch this episode and you come to Discord, if you meet me halfway, you don't know anything about Discord, blah blah blah. Come to Discord and say, hey, Ben said he was going to show that article. Come on in and I'll show you the article.
I kind of think I need that article on a shirt.
Shit, I just spit beer.
Oh my God, that is so great.
Like I said, I just randomly grabbed a magazine and I got to that page and I looked on the bottom of the page. It says by Ben Johnson. I was like, oh yeah.
How many times did that run?
You know what? Like a pair of dirty underwear.
Because it's just an ad. They just bought the 2-page ad.
Yeah, it was a paid for ad. And
put it in, making it look like it was an article.
Yeah.
So gross.
And I was their employee. So,
Oh, it's awesome. So fantastic.
But that's why I'm part of Reef Beef now, because I just, what do they atone for my sins?
Yeah, it's your penance. That's so great, Ben.
I'm sworn to a life of brutal honesty now.
Yeah. I have no book because all my books are in boxes right now as I'm doing remodeling stuff.
That's okay. That was more than what we needed.
So that's Reef Beef. Thank you guys for listening. We want to thank all the beefers and we want to thank our sponsors, saltwateraquarium.com, Champion Lighting and Supply, and we're powered by PolypLab. And because we can't not do it enough, we want to thank Snowman for doing all the work to make all the bells and whistles done and beautiful and nice. That said, happy reefing, be safe, and go check your damn electrical connections and clean them all up. It's time. It's time. Now's the time. Do it now.
This episode, hosted by Richard Ross and Ben Johnson, produced by Richard Ross and Snowman, edited and directed by Snowman. Thanks to our Prime and Gold level beefers, Corey, Rich P, James B, Ryan H, Scott C, Russell, Pedro, Scott O, Robert S, and Jason C.
Why is my back all wet?
My master plan about coming and release.
Coming and release.
I'm going to take credit for that I made those innuendos on purpose.
I'm going to take credit for ad-libbing off of it.
I think that's a good thing. Fuck, I got to close this window with Sanjay staring at me.
Is he really? Is he
Christ.
chat GPTing you?
He's like on my other screen and he's fucking huge.
He's so big.
Go away, Sanjay. No one loves you.
I love Sanjay. He needs to come on the show. Why is he not coming on
I don't
the
know.
show?
He didn't respond to me. He will, I'm sure.
He needs to come and release. He's mad at me. He's not really mad at me, but I make so many promises that I don't deliver on because he he made a little tank, a softy tank. And I told him I was going to send him stuff. And then like a month later, he sent me a text and he goes, "Are you or are you not?" And I was like, dude, what do you want? So I had to name a lot of things that I had. And he's like, no. Oh, that's cool.
Did you ever send it to him?
Not yet.
Jackass.
It's too late. I got it. It's recording.
I got it. It's recording.
It's like this little baby's talking, man.
I'm John Travolta.
Yeah. What was that called? 3 Men and a Baby?
This little baby is pooping. No, he wasn't in that, was he?
Yeah,
That was Gutenberg and
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. I don't think it was John Travolta. It wasn't.
Dude.
Beefers, if this makes it in the bloopers, somebody tell us who the third man and 3 Men and a Baby was.
3 Men and a Baby.
We don't care who the baby was. Now's the part where you go, what's going on with you, Rich? So I'm not doing everything. But we'll leave that up to what the fuck is his name? Snowman.
Man of Snow.
Oh shit, I didn't hit record.
You always scare me when you say that.
It's a funny joke.